We get a great matchup here in the AFC Wildcard round as the Miami Dolphins are flying out to Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on Saturday night of Wildcard weekend. It's going to be a phenomenal game. Brian and I, we're going to break down the game, give our predictions. But before we do that, like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the postseason. Also, on top of that, we have a bunch of content coming out here between now and the NFL draft. So be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And Ryan, this game is a rematch from earlier. These two teams actually played in Germany. So I'm sure that they are both actually going to enjoy playing in the States this time. Won't be as long of a travel for Patrick Mahomes. Won't be as long of a travel also for Tua and the Dolphins, who are coming off a disappointing Sunday night loss against the Buffalo Bills, where they actually ended up losing the AFC East battle. But it's still possible, though. The Chiefs, if there's ever a time or season to play the Kansas City Chiefs, it's this season. But they are not going to be going into this game 100%. Even in this game, Andrew Van Ginkel.
Yeah, Van Ginkel. He got hurt. Their third pass rusher on their depth chart. Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are also torn Achilles and torn ACL. Right, they're both out as well. So just not a good start, I think, to the playoffs for the Miami Dolphins. Also, you got to look. Jalen Waddle has been in and out of the lineup over the last 8 weeks or so. He missed Week 18 with an injury as well.
He missed a couple weeks. Actually.
Yeah, and Xavier Howard as well left, I believe, the Dallas game with an injury and missed this week as well. So. It's a really interesting kind of season, I think. Alexa, turn Office on. Sorry. Turn my light off automatically. It's just been a really interesting season for the Dolphins because they came out with that hot start. They were the most explosive offense that we've ever seen through the first 8 weeks, and then they just kind of fizzled out slowly. And I think one of the things with a team like them is these receivers are smaller, and so over the course of the season, I think that they start to slow. And like Tyreek Hill missed, I think, 3 weeks in there. Jalen Waddle's been in and out of the lineup really all year.
Yeah. Tyreek only missed 1 week.
Only 1 week?
Yeah, with an ankle injury that he received in Tennessee. He didn't play against the Jets, and they didn't need him because I think they won like 30-0.
And he was on a snap count against Dallas, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
And so it's just been a rough go of it. They did a similar thing last year too, where like they started out for the first 7 weeks were fantastic, and then ended up being like 10-7 or something, and getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs. And on the flip side, the Chiefs, not really too many injuries on the offensive side of the ball, just some really bad play, and not for Patrick Mahomes, but just we've seen the effect of Orlando Brown Jr. Leaving and kind of the rotating doors that they've had at tackle. I say rotating doors as in like the actual players letting guys in and letting blitzers in, and for me, they're just not. They're not as good on the offensive side of the ball. They lead the league in drops. I think we can really see Kelsey kind of starting to age. Also, with that being said, this receiving core is not that good, and teams have really been able to focus in and kind of take him out of the game. Whereas before they've had Tyreek Hill or other weapons to kind of take the top off. So it's been a really interesting season for both of these teams, and I'm kind of curious to see how this matchup plays out.
Yeah, this is one of those where, to your point, Miami, they're built all on speed, so they have to be at 100% or close to 100% to be fully effective. And not having Waddle in there is going to be huge. And then now Patrick Van Ginkel's down, and it looked like he had a foot injury, so I'm hoping it's nothing crazy. But if he broke his foot, then he's done for the postseason. Or even if it's a very serious sprain, he's probably not going to be playing in this game, and that's going to they're even down even more guys that are crucial to the defense, because you need to have as much speed as possible defensively to try and contain Patrick Mahomes and just get him out of rhythm, which he's always in rhythm. And so just trying to disrupt that as much as possible. But on the flip side, got to hope Jalen Waddle's healthy. And with having a high ankle sprain, that's just going to be crucial for them, just because the Chiefs, the thing that they do really well defensively is honestly the kryptonite in my mind of this Miami Dolphins, and that's with Chris Jones and that ability to just break in there and disturb Tua and not allow them to quickly go through the reads or be comfortable in the pocket all the time. When the Dolphins have faced teams that have been able to disrupt the offensive line, get hurries, get QB hits, that's when we see this Miami Dolphins offense not be successful. It's what we saw when they played in Germany. It's what we saw against them against the Eagles, what we saw against them against the Bills tonight. Now, if Waddle is healthy and if they're able to have a great offensive line performance, then I definitely think that they can beat Kansas City. Kansas City is absolutely as vulnerable as they've ever been. Patrick Mahomes, it's not having the year that he wants to have. I think a lot of that has to be with the receiver talent that is around them. And to your point, Travis Kelce is not as effective. The offensive line is playing a little bit worse than I think they initially thought after Orlando Brown Jr. left in free agency. But the only thing that's been keeping them in games has been this defense, which is crazy to think about. If the Chiefs start to get some receiving talent like for next year, and this defense only gets better, I don't know how teams beat them if they can actually learn if they can bring receivers in that can catch the football. But that's a separate story. That's a separate video. But for this game in particular, I can see avenues for both these teams winning. It's just going to be who makes less mistakes. And I feel like when watching Tua tonight, and I feel like as the team has gone on over these past couple of weeks, I feel like they just have a ceiling. I feel like there are teams that they just can't beat with how they're built, and with Tua behind the helm. While with Kansas City, what I've seen this season is like they just find ways to beat themselves. Like I feel like they haven't lost too many games. They've beaten themselves.
They've given away.
They've given away games. I know that's the Russell Westbrook beam. So I hope everybody knows what I mean.
I think the Lions game is the perfect example. That was week 1. Yeah. They had Kadarius Toney literally had a first down in his hands to continue on a drive to take the lead in that game, but it just goes right through his hands, right to a Lions defender, and he takes it in for a touchdown, which gives the Lions the 7-point lead and the advantage in the game. And it's just like, all right, man, well, that kind of sucked. And then they've just continually done that. I mean, even in the Patriots game in week 14, I believe, they had 3 turnovers, none of which were Mahomes' fault.
The better one was the Raiders Christmas game. It was literally 7 seconds of play. They had 2 turnovers that resulted in touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's a 7 seconds of gameplay. Other than that, they were the better team. Not by Chiefs didn't play great that game, but they put up 14 offensive points. The Raiders only put up 6 offensive points. So it was literally 7 seconds of play where they beat themselves. And sorry, I say that. They've beaten themselves in games. They haven't lost too many games. They've always seemed to beat themselves. That's what I meant to say earlier. And the Christmas Day game, I think, is the best example of most recent memory. It's just the fact that you take away those 2 turnovers for touchdowns and you win that game. Just hands down. They just seem to find ways to beat themselves by either drop passes or guys just aren't talented enough to get open. So I'm not entirely sure. They're going to have to figure it out quickly now that we're in January. But let's get into predictions here, though, for this game. 2 teams who have a lot of potential, but we'll just have to see if they can find it. And, hey, you know what? At this point, survive in advance. So let's get into predictions. But before we do that, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Ryan and I, we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. As I said at the beginning of the video, we have a bunch of content coming out as well as other playoff predictions and wildcard weekend predictions. So if you want to watch those videos and see our future content, be sure to like, subscribe. And Ryan, who do you have winning this game and why?
So while my camera gets back into focus here, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think they're the better team. I'm going to go with the better defense in this matchup. I really just don't like either of these offenses at the moment. I don't really think either of them are performing at optimum levels to really compete. But with that being said, being at Arrowhead, it is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in January. They have a pretty good record, if you guys haven't noticed. In this month, so I do like them here, and I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I think they're just the better team.
I'm also going to go with the Chiefs as well. I think outside of then both off, especially the Chief offense is struggling. I just think the Chiefs match up well against Miami. Especially even right now. Miami's offensive line has always been a bugaboo for them, and I think Chris Jones is just an absolute offensive line destroyer. Then on top of that, they might be without their top three edge defenders going up
to get after Mahomes.
Yeah, and so I think that's going to play a huge factor. And on top of that as well, if Patrick Mahomes is going to have to run all over this team to just go and get first downs, we've seen him do that. And he's had to do that. It feels like the majority of the second half of the season because his receivers can't get open. So he'll do that, and I think he'll have the capability, or the ability to do that, and the opportunity. Because I don't know if Miami will be able to fully contain him with all these injuries. So, and then on top of that as well, I just don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to watch Jalen Waddle's status. But I am also going to lean towards Kansas City, and it's a South Miami team going up to Kansas City in January, and it's going to be cold. It's going to be very cold.
Actually, what is that? It's supposed to be 19 degrees come kickoff, so it'll be interesting watching that. So let's go ahead.
A little bit colder than I expected.
Yeah, a little bit colder than South Beach. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. We're both taking the Chiefs. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notified when time I release any of our new off-season content. We are following the playoffs through, but we are also creating a lot of content between now and the 2024 NFL Draft on April 25th. So hit that bell to get notified. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead. And of that, we will see you guys next time.